Did you know that the United States purchased Alaska from Russia for just 2 cents an acre? But why did Russia agree to sell this vast territory to another country? The answer is more complicated than you might think. Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this exciting video, we will explore the reasons that led to Russia's decision to sell Alaska to the United States. Alaska is the largest state in the United States, covering over 660,000 square miles of land. But it wasn't always a part of the US. In fact, Alaska was once owned by Russia, and it wasn't until 1867 that the US government purchased the territory for $7.2 million, which amounted to just 2 cents an acre. While this may seem like a bargain for the US, the sale of Alaska was not a decision that Russia made lightly. So without further delay, let's get straight into the video. History of Russia and Alaska. In the 16th century, Russia's total land area was just a fraction of what it is today. But the eastern land of Russia owned country Alaska. These tributaries located in the region helped in the growth of commerce. In 1581, Russia captured the Khanate of Siber, which marked the beginning of its conquest of Siberia. Russian Emperor Peter the Great was very interested in the Asian landmass. He started 2 explorations from the city of Okhotsk. In 1741, Vitus Bering crossed the Bering Strait and reached Alaska. After this, he went to Mount St. Elias and Yakutat. Nevertheless, he died in December 1741 due to scurvy during the Second Kamchatka expedition itself. His crew near the Aleutian Islands found hundreds of sea otters, foxes, and fur seals, which acted as a silver lining of the otherwise tumultuous journey due to adverse weather. Unlike today, back then Alaska had a deadly climate. A total of only 800 Russian citizens colonized the island, and it was also located far off the Russian capital of St. Petersburg. In 1812, Russians built a concession at Fort Ross on the western coast of the U.S. After the Russian Department of American Exploration ceased to function, Moscow became worried about the prospects of Russian settlements in Alaska. The Crimean War, fought from 1853 to 1856, acted as the final nail in the coffin as Russia lost to an alliance of the Ottoman Empire. Now let's talk about the Crimean War and Russian financial crisis. The Crimean War, which lasted from 1853 to 1856, was a significant factor in Russia's decision to sell Alaska to the United States. The war, fought primarily between Russia and the allied forces of France, Britain, the Ottoman Empire, and Sardinia, took a heavy toll on Russia's economy. The country's military expenditures skyrocketed, and its industries and infrastructure were damaged or destroyed. The war also highlighted Russia's technological and military inferiority compared to the Western powers. In addition to the war's financial impact, Russia was also facing a broader economic crisis during this time. The country was heavily dependent on the export of raw materials such as timber, fur, and grain, which were experiencing a decline in demand and prices. The government was burdened with debt, and the economy was stagnant. In this way, selling Alaska to the United States represented a way for Russia to alleviate its financial woes. While the sale price of $7.2 million was relatively modest, it provided a much-needed infusion of cash for the struggling Russian government. Reasons behind the Russia's sell Alaska to the United States. The decision by the Russian Empire to sell Alaska to the United States in 1867 was influenced by a number of reasons. 1. Alaska was hard to defend. After being defeated by the British in the Crimean War, the Russians needed funds to protect themselves in the future. Russia feared that Alaska would be easily captured in any future battle with the British, therefore Emperor Alexander II opted to sell the colony. Russia approached both the British and Americans in 1859. The British Prime Minister rejected the offer, and so they turned to the Americans. 2. Difficult living conditions. The colony prospered under Alexander Baranov, and the fur trade thrived. The naval governors who took over the company after Baranov expanded the company's influence to River Yukon, where they looked for another type of fur. After exhausting the fur trade and reducing the population of sea otters by the 1850s, the RAC had no source of income and started depending on supplies from Russia. Once the Crimean War began, Turkey, France, and Britain stood between Russia and Alaska. It became clear that they could not send supplies to the colony. 3. Lack of natural resources. The main trade in the territory was the fur business, and by the time Russia was selling Alaska to the United States, they had not discovered gold yet. The California gold rush confirmed that if gold were to be found in Alaska, the Russians would be overwhelmed by the Canadians and Americans. The lack of resources and hard living conditions in Alaska forced them to sell the colony. How impressed are you by the above information? Let us know in the comment section. The Alaska Purchase. After the Union won the Civil War, the Russian minister to the U.S., Eduard Stocky, was instructed to start negotiating with William Seward in March 1867 over the territory. President Johnson was busy with Reconstruction, and Seward, who believed the purchase would divert the attention of the locals from the domestic problems, negotiated with the Russians on behalf of the United States. The negotiation ended with the signing of the treaty on March 30, 1867. The United States bought the colony at $7.2 million, 2 cents per acre. Stay connected, maybe we are just jumping into an end. How did the sale of Alaska affect the relationship between Russia and the United States? The sale of Alaska to the United States had a mixed impact on the relationship between Russia and the United States. In a short term, the sale was viewed as a major diplomatic victory for the United States and a sign of Russian weakness. Some U.S. policymakers saw the acquisition of Alaska as a first step towards greater American influence in the Pacific region, and as a way to counter the rising power of Japan. For Russia, the sale of Alaska was seen as a setback in its efforts to maintain a global empire, and it contributed to a growing sense of disillusionment with its position in the world. Some Russian officials felt that the sale had been forced upon them by external pressures, and that it represented a betrayal of Russian interests. However, despite these initial tensions, the sale of Alaska did not have a lasting negative impact on the relationship between Russia and the United States. Over time, the two countries have developed a complex and often contentious relationship, marked by periods of cooperation and conflict. Today, the relationship between Russia and the United States is influenced by a wide range of factors, including geopolitical interests, economic ties, and cultural exchanges. In short, the sale of Alaska from Russia to the United States was a result of several factors, including Russia's financial difficulties, its inability to defend the territory, and its desire to maintain positive relations with the United States. The purchase of Alaska by the United States proved to be a wise decision, as it provided access to valuable natural resources and expanded America's territory. The sale also contributed to the development of stronger relations between Russia and the United States in the long run. Today, Alaska remains an integral part of the United States and continues to play a significant role in American history and culture. This was all about today's video. See you soon in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, we would love to hear how much you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can see more awesome videos like this in the future. Thank you.